I'm back for part two of our message. I really don't know where I stopped at, but I can just start. This is the ending part of what I was talking about. So over the years, there's been a lot of different things happening. Um, Men have tried to step up and help their communities and help their people try to come up and be protected. And every man that did that um, were pretty much assassinated. So they were making sure that we didn't have anyone to push us, to motivate us um, to do anything different. And I guess after a while, we just gave up. I don't remember the last time somebody, well, I can't remember what his name, the man down south with all the men that walk around with guns. I don't remember where they were at. But they're not, well known. I don't know if they just police down south or what. Louis Farrakhan did have the Million Man March, and they did it peacefully. It was very peaceful, but I don't know what became of that. So we just continue to, work, live our lives, try to stay out of trouble, just try to live. So what they do to us is they try to keep us confused and hating one another. Yeah, that is the main objective, to never have us come together as a people. And it's been working. And they do not want us to come together to change the dynamics. So our neighborhoods stay polluted with drugs. And if you go in any hood in the country, you'll see liquor stores on every corner. They have divided the families, told men what their part raising their children would be. They had no rights. Told children, that if their parents disciplined them, to call this number. So they were even taking away your rights to discipline your own child. They will pass you through school. It's called No Child Left Behind. So basically, they're passing you through school without an education. They're sending black men to prison for minor charges. Or if they want to get a whole group of people, then they call it a RICO charge, so they can charge all of them with one thing and send them all away. When they serve their time and they come home, they're almost guaranteed to go back. The programs, there's nothing. You come home and you're supposed to make sure you see your probation officer, make sure you're doing this or whatever. And if you don't get a job by this time, then you're in violation. But it's hard for you to get a job because who's going to hire a felon? And it's just it just brings them down. So all these things are made to keep us, where we are. But if we came together and there was a group of people, so and so, my son's coming home from jail and we're trying to, get him on the right track, that our people would come together and maybe help him get a job, take him around if he doesn't have a car to make sure he makes his appointments, and just give them a boost so that they know somebody is behind them. Like, if you feel like people don't care, sometimes why do you? Um, they will be harassed by the police also, because the police they like to send them back. They tell them when they leave, see you when you come back, and that's kind of like a mental torture. They like to knock them off their guard. Some people would rather say, I hope you do well because we don't want to see you back here. But to send a young man out of prison and tell them, see you when you get back, that kind of doesn't give them a good start. Now, I believe the biggest thing that we need to try to fix is the gangs in every community. I believe they started off in the right direction, but I don't know where it turned. I believe it was that it was a good program that they were trying to start. So in a blink of an eye, something good that they did, like, because the Black Panthers were doing good for the kids, giving them breakfast and walking them to school, making sure they were safe. And they even tore that apart. They assassinated the man who got the whole program together. Not only did he get blacks together, he got blacks, Latinos, and white people together to fight for the same cause. And when you're able to do that, they deem you dangerous. So they have to get rid of you. And so they did. It was sad. His good friend betrayed him and worked with the FBI behind his back. So he basically got his friend assassinated. And I guess after quite a few years, it really got to him because he took his life. If you go to the doctor, I don't know, there's some good doctors out there. I'm not going to say that all of them are, bad, but sometimes your health care is not important if you're coming in and you have Medicaid or, some type of government health insurance. And even if you had Blue Cross Blue Shield, they sometimes don't treat you with the same good quality of medicine than they do other people. So it's just everywhere. You feel like I can't catch a break, I can't do this, and I don't feel like having to always scream for my rights. I just want to be able to live and take care of myself. It wears and tears on you. A lot of black families, we don't say I love you in our families, and I don't know if that was something, because that didn't happen in my home. My mother never said she loved me ever, and she passed away without saying it. So some kids that would, break them down, like So my mom doesn't, but I just thought it was normal for families to be like that. Well, not normal because I was raised differently, but I didn't really see it as like this is something different. But if you don't have, love or someone saying that to you, when you leave your front door, all those things that you're going to face might take a toll on you. If your mother does your hair and she says how pretty you are and how smart you are, and you're going to be the president when you grow up, that child is going to go out there believing it. We have to, help our children believe that who they are, so that the people on the outside don't get a hold of them and tell them they're not as good as the rest of the kids. I noticed that all the grocery stores are way out. They don't put any grocery stores in the hood, so families don't have, access to fresh vegetables or fruit. The police harass black men driving or walking. And they do this to provoke them, because basically the police have who's going to believe you? They're always going to believe the police. So they like to, poke at them. I was outside. The police had pulled over or had said something to some guys, and I guess one of the guys was wearing his t-shirt from where he works at, and the police was telling him, laughing at him because I guess he was working like at a restaurant or, and so me and my self went over to the boy and said, don't even listen. I said, he's just trying to provoke you. I said, at least you work, and it doesn't mean this is going to be your destiny, for the rest of your life. I said, he's just trying to provoke you so that he can find a reason to take you to jail. And he was like, yeah, you're right. So, we have to stop and think sometimes. People act off of emotions, and then when they do something, they, I wish I hadn't have, I wish I hadn't have done that. But I understand. I truly understand. You can't be stepped on and thrown to the side and just everything without it taking a toll on you, especially if you're a single mother. You have all kinds of decisions to make, and all, just things that do I, I have to buy groceries, but if I buy groceries, then I won't have enough for the light bill. And so how do I get this together? And I'm going to tell you, a single black mother could run the country, because they could take $100 and find a way to pay their bills. And, find, if there's no food in the house, find a way to get in the cupboard and get some vegetables. We're going to make a soup. So there's, I believe they're strong, but the family needs to be together. Children need to have their mother and their father. And I'm not going to say that the Caucasian people did that, but they helped. I might say they helped more than anything else. They want the man out of the house so that the mother had to struggle by herself, and the man could get in trouble because he doesn't have a structured home, and when he gets in trouble, they'll send him to jail. It's just a vicious circle. I believe we have endured this long enough. It's 2024. Actually, it's going to be 2025. And it doesn't seem like anything is getting better or I don't see just anything being good for us, period. Yeah, we had a black president, but do you know if back in slavery, and they still are the law is still on the books today, you are considered whatever your mother's race is, that's what you're considered. And they always said the mother because they didn't want your father to have, not your father, your mother. So if they had relations with the slaves, and they had the children, they made sure that the children stayed slaves, because whatever your mother's race is, that's how they determine what you are. And that's still on the books. There's a lot of laws that are on the books that are ridiculous or racist, and people don't just stand up. I guess we're just tired. But I believe that we have to find a way to turn this around. They treat us like this is just modern day slavery. We think, we can walk freely. Well, walk freely. Ahmaud Arbery, I can't think of. He was walking freely, and he was unalived by men who had no business bothering him. He was walking, minding his business. And because they believe that they're better than him, that they decided that he needed to answer to why he was walking around in the neighborhood. They always got to have an answer they always need to know something. Go in your house and know something in there. But that's usually how it goes. It's just over and over. It's always something. And we just need to, I pray to God that he helps us turn this around. If black people came together, that would be the most powerful thing ever. And I'm not saying came together and made violence or did violence. I'm just saying came together. The whole society just came together, stopped fighting, started programs to help kids learn how to read, because the school's not going to do it. And I bet you they would try to do something to end it, but that would make them mad, because they really, they still hate us, just like from way back. Still hate us. And they'll always hate us. So they'll always find something to do to us. So, Gandhi had introduced, he did sit-ins and walks and, trying to get rights. And so he started something called civil disobedience. And that's, trying to get your rights, but in a civil way, no violence. And that's where Martin Luther King, took that from. That we can get things done if we stand up, but we're not going to, start, being violent or anything like that. Now, it did work in some instances. They got some laws turned around, with like the bus boycott worked very well. But in what it did to our people, because they didn't care about they were practicing civil disobedience. They were going to harm them, I also find it you never really see a white man or Caucasian man accost a black man by himself. If they're going to go and pick on this man, there's usually a group of people. It's not just one person. Because I don't think that they would do it. Well, unless they had a gun, I guess. But just one-on-one face with the man, I don't think they would do it. They're coward, and they feel more powerful when it's a group of them. They feel like, they're going to be the winners if there's a group of them, but they might run into a black man who can beat 5 men at one time. I remember a story back in 1998 in Jasper County, Texas. It was on May 2nd. There was a group of 3 white men. I think they were riding around, drinking beer, just riding around. And it always starts with, hey, look at him over there. Let's mess with him or whatever. Instead of go do something, go plant some corn or stuff. Why is everything that they have to do when they're drinking, it has to be destructive? It has to be harming somebody that is not doing nothing to them. It's always, and especially when it comes to us, that's their main goal. Hey, let's go mess with them. So they went to the man and they asked him, did he want to ride? Well, he was, had been drinking himself. And he said, yeah, he'll take a ride. His name was James Byrd Jr. They tied him to the back of their truck and drug him for 3 miles on an asphalt road. And he was conscious the whole ride, so he's tied to this rope, and he can't, he can't get loose because he's just, they're just dragging him down the street. It finally ended, the ride finally ended when Mr. Byrd hit a culvert, severing his right arm and his head. And then they did, that wasn't enough. They dropped his body off in front of a black church. Now, I don't know what that was supposed to be about. And I guess they thought, we can do this because we have rights. We have the right to. We're privileged. They did it back in, the olden days, and we can still, do it today. Well, evidently they learned. And I'm not saying that, that happens in most cases. I don't know what judge, jury, or whoever was on the case, but 2 of the men were executed, and the other man got life. And now that's very rare, but very deserving. No one has the right to take someone's life except God. He's the giver of life. So he's the only one that can take a life. For you to decide that on that day that James Byrd Jr. was going to never see his mother, his kids, his friends ever again after that day, you didn't have the right. No one had the right to do that to him. And I just think that, back in the day, they would kidnap men and boys, because they look at our young boys, 12, 13, they look at them as men. They just see men. We see them as children, but they just see them as men. So everybody is, for the game. And as a child, you kidnap a little boy, and I thought of Emmett Till, who was never raised down south. His mother was from down south. He was raised in Chicago, so he didn't really know the certain rules that you had to follow. And so they say he whistled at the woman. I don't know. Kids play jokes, and and that cost him his life. His uncle was in the house, and there was a rifle there, but he couldn't, in his mind, that he couldn't use it because there were a group of men. He couldn't protect his nephew, and I know that bothers him to this day. They were trying to offer them money or whatever they could do so they wouldn't take him away. Now imagine being 14 or 12 and a group of men come and drag you out of your bed late at night, and they put you in the back of a truck. So all the while, I'm sure they're saying things to him like, you'll never whistle again, and we're going to do this and do that. And while that little boy was riding in that truck, I know all he could think of was his mom, or somebody to help him, and there was no one there. And so they took him and they beat him and did whatever they wanted to do to him until they felt they were finished or vindicated. And then they shot him in his head and threw him in the river. Neither one of them did time. I don't know what the defense was, but they didn't do any time. Like I said, I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in harming people or, whatever, but I sometimes wonder if the shoe was on the other foot. Because people sometimes don't understand unless you show them. Sometimes you got to show them, what you're talking about or how you feel. Because I think they just feel we're I know they know that we will fight back, but I think that they just, feel like we're just go along with whatever. They still call us the N-word, and we're supposed to just laugh it off, and words don't hurt you, and, things like that. I pray every night for the world and my enemies, because the world is so evil right now that you're afraid to sometimes go out of your own house. You can't go to the grocery store because you might get shot up. You can't drive down the street. So a lot of people live in fear, and that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't have to live in fear. So my prayer is that God puts a hedge of protection, and this can be your prayer too, that when you wake up, you ask Him to cover you and give you strength. And I ask Him not to put me in places that would jeopardize me, because I know me. For some reason, I can't watch people be bullied or hurt. And I could walk up on somebody and say, leave him alone, or leave her alone, and they can pull out a gun and shoot me in the head. I guess that would be my day to go, but I just ask Him not to put me in certain situations, because I don't have a off button. I can't think straight when I see people being harmed, or and so I guess if that was to be my destiny, I guess that would be my destiny. But I'm very happy that you guys have been faithful, coming to hear my uploads. I really appreciate it, all the people, and so this is my last upload. I will be keeping my channel up, because people still there's a lot of people that haven't heard some of the messages, and I might want to come on sometime, or and bring something else. So I am going to keep my channel up. So I'm going to tell you about the Cash App game, and I'm not going to make it easy. So there's going to be 3 questions that I'm going to post one at a time on my community wall. And the first one is a very hard question, because I want to see who really, was listening. I'm not going to tell you what the question is. You'll have to go to my community wall to answer it. So if someone happens to get that question right, then the game's over, and they win the jackpot, all the money. So if you answer the hardest question, you're going to receive $100. If you don't answer that question, we go to the next question, and 25 comes off. So the next question, same thing. Nobody gets the next question. Then we go to the last question, but another 25 comes off. And I believe the last question is just a matter of who's going to get there first, and write it on the community wall. I will know who wrote it first. So I so I just want to say I thank you and appreciate everybody. I've met some wonderful people on here, and I just want all of you guys to be safe and trust in God, and just take, just believe in God. Just try it. Just talk to Him and see what He will do for you. He's done a lot for me, and I don't know what I would have done had I not decided to follow Him. So that's all I have to say. I hope everyone has a good evening and good night.